Hey guys, welcome back to Ultimate Games. And today we're going to be talking about a few different topics that's been happening over the last few weeks and whatnot. Granted, we supposed to have been doing this weeks ago, but some complications happened. But now we're here. We're going to get started on it. Let's talk about what we've been playing right now, Cruz. What have you been playing?
Last week, or maybe even a little bit more than that, I had just finished the Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunion remake.
Nice. How was that?
Fuck that ending. That got to me.
Really?
I finished that like at 11, 12, maybe like 1 in the morning. And I don't know if you know who Zack is from Final Fantasy VII, but
Mm-hmm.
so I know what happens to him because I beat the vanilla game a while ago.
Right.
I just didn't expect that to happen to him and be like, all right, well, fuck you too. I guess shit on the guy I like a lot in this game.
Right. I can feel you. Was that the only game you've been playing this last week or so?
Still diving into some Fire Emblem with my roommates.
Nice.
We were at the second to last chapter. Really good still.
Okay.
And I'm on my own. After I finish 7, I'm focusing on Metroid Prime Remastered.
Oh, nice. Did you get it, or is it sitting around?
Yes, no. My roommate got it for me. It came in the mail sometime last week, and I've been on it. And I just got the Speedball upgrade, where Samus goes into her morph ball, and she can do a little Sonic-esque boost in the ball
Mhm.
form.
Good times. That's what's up.
What about you?
Me, honestly, I've been playing a lot of Destiny lately, and I got a lot of thoughts about that, but we'll get into that in the future. But for right now, I've just been mostly playing around with my backlog, some Horizon Zero Dawn and Forbidden West. Cleared those. Was going for the platinum, decided not to because I didn't feel like it, didn't have time to.
Mm-hmm.
But I enjoy the games; they were pretty great, and it's great what that studio's done.
That's good.
Yeah. Now bringing back Infamous already.
That's the wrong tree. You got to be asking Sucker Punch for that. But give them time. I'm pretty sure they'll remake that.
Oh, really? No. Wait, who's doing Horizon then?
Guerrilla Games, I think they're the guys who did Killzone.
Oh, Killzone. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't care about Killzone, so they can leave that in the dirt for all I care.
Sony's living in the dirt.
They really are. They are so good at abandoning stuff. It's ridiculous. They've been trying to get rid of the Vita though for the longest, and they still can't do it.
Mm-hmm.
Go Vita. Yeah, that's cool though. But all right, let's just go ahead and jump into the topics instead of talking about the day to day.
Yes.
All right, man. So a lot's been happening these last few months. A lot of announcements, a lot of events been happening.
Yes.
Xbox and PlayStation, they've been taking their thing from, Nintendo with their direct style presentations. Thoughts on that first? On that.
On the directs, or just overall how each of them are doing?
Let's say how do you feel about each of the big platforms doing, the directs?
Sony and Microsoft took a while figuring out their footing on how to present them, because Microsoft used to have all these ones that took about 2 hours or so that really didn't show anything.
Mm-hmm.
And the one they did last year, and then this one too, was probably some of their best ones, where they just focused on gameplay, and they had developers there to talk about oh, this is why we've been having fun with the games, behind the scenes talk.
Yeah.
And I think those two presentations, for the first time in a while since the 360 days of the Xbox, finally got me hyped up for oh yeah, this shit's coming to Xbox, sweet.
Right.
They finally get it. It's not about advertising Connect, advertisements in the games and crap like that. It's just no,
Yeah.
we're a gaming machine. Here's some gameplay, guys. No CG trailers.
Right. It took them a while because, man, that's all we heard for a good minute was just Connect.
And then their shadow drop of Hi-Fi Rush,
yeah, that was a shock. I was surprised by that.
I love the fucking art style of that game.
They killed it. And the voice actor, they So Ray from Tales of Zestiria.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Killed it. Sounds just as soon as I heard his voice, I recognized it. I was like, oh, this is old boy. Yeah, that game was surprisingly fantastic.
Hideki, either Hideki or Shigeki oh my god, Proneus, I forgot the name, but he's the one of the leads behind the OG Resident Evil series.
Mm-hmm.
1, 2, 3, and 4, and then he moved on to do his own thing with Bethesda and their Tango Gameworks. I think that's what they're called.
Right. Have they put out any trailers for what they're doing?
That's what they did. It was Hi-Fi Rush, but I think Hi-Fi Rush is his last game, because he's just leaving that studio and Bethesda altogether. But
damn, okay.
It's just weird because we don't know if he's just going into early retirement or he's doing something else.
That's kind of weird, especially from leaving a big company to go to another company and then just end it on that.
Yeah, it's just.
I mean, he's ending on a high note for sure, but it's kind of strange. I don't know.
people are saying it's sus because he might be joining a studio that Sony's buying, or he might be just going to try to be his own independent studio again.
That would make sense. Sony's got like super reach when it comes to the Japanese developers, but I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, if the money's there, why not?
He has the legacy behind him to stop and start his own studios. I'm pretty sure he'll be fine, whatever he decides to do next.
Oh yeah, definitely. He's pretty much a great asset to have on any team. So I mean, Hi-Fi Rush pretty much proved that, and that was on a platform that like doesn't even cater to like Japanese games like that. So definitely, I get you. So as far as Xbox's Direct or Xbox, I don't know what they called it, but
Developer Direct. I think that's Xbox Direct, Developers Direct. So I guess Xbox DD.
Okay, for sure. What'd you think of it?
Overall, a good 7 or 8 out of 10. I think doing that format more would probably be a lot. Would be a lot of benefits for them in the future.
Right. Any good like announcements from it?
They had their Redfall stuff. They had their stuff for the Forza. They had. It's not a lot of stuff. I wasn't like, the biggest thing that got me hooked was the Hi-Fi Rush, because it was just like this wacky, the Beautiful Joe, like Bayonetta style, like craziness, especially with music by the dude who does Jet Set Radio music. So just all that just got all my attention was on that. Like, I'm not saying the rest of it was bad, but just that just got my eye. When you see like
they were showing off Persona at that Direct, right?
Maybe highlighting it that, hey, it's on Game Pass now, just so you can get some more subscribers.
Because that was right around the time of launch, right? I assume if I'm remembering that correctly.
Maybe a bit sooner than that, but give or take. I know Xbox was the first Direct in general for the year for the big three.
Gotcha. If that's the first one, then it should have been that.
Yeah,
it's been a while since I've seen it, but there are problems of recording late, but no biggie. That's good though. Anything else you want to put out there for it?
So this has nothing to do with the Direct, but I have confidence that I think after seeing what Xbox is doing and how things are going in a court thing, we can probably talk about another day. I think they have the chance of winning this generation still.
Still, you really think that? I don't know, man. Sony might be fumbling, but they are still kind of ahead in the game.
I think it's only because with Game Pass introducing smaller games in between, like their big games, like the what's it called, Starfield, and whatever next Elder Scrolls thing is going to happen. I think doing stuff like smaller, big Japanese games, basically doing what Sony did with like in between every Uncharted or Last of Us, you get a Gravity Rush or something like that. Right. I think if Xbox is doing that, then I think they will like do what Sony did while Sony's still doing on their cinematic things. And I guess with that, you want to just jump into Sony's next since they're the most recent?
Yeah. I think Xbox could take it, but they'd have to like just put out at least 2 bangers. Starfield and Elder Scrolls would definitely do that. But I don't know, man. I saw Starfield gameplay and I've been watching it like back to back a little bit recently, and it looks rough, dude. Like, I understand it's like an early alpha like gameplay trailer, but damn, did it look just super rough. Like, they're still using that same old engine, that Fallout 76 engine that we should be put in the garbage, or at least updated at the very least.
We don't know, and it's probably that's why it keeps getting delayed.
Yeah, I can see why. Hopefully, they fix it up to the point where it's playable.
I think after Microsoft watched what Bethesda did to themselves with 76, I don't think they want them to repeat what happened to Starfield.
Yeah,
because they bought them for a reason, and now that reason is you're not going to do what you guys did before and let something out there and have somebody else fix your game. You're going to fix your game before it comes out. That's fingers crossed.
Yeah. And man, it's funny because like literally they had a blueprint to someone who made the same mistake, and that was No Man's Sky when it first came out. Literally looked like the same game when it first was showing off, and I was like, I'm getting No Man's Sky vibes from this, and it definitely just had all the same problems, like rough looking, just everything looked bland as hell, and for a game that offers so much, they're only showing so little, so it's like I don't really know. And Elder Scrolls 6, that should be an easy slam dunk. If they can't get Elder Scrolls right, I'm sorry. I'm gonna start being worried about Bethesda like really hard.
I mean, that's going to be out for a while. We got that CG trailer for a logo years ago.
Granted,
at this point, it's not even the back burner on the oven. It's like in the fucking storage cold room waiting to be defrosted.
Definitely. I'm glad they haven't shown anything off from it yet. They take their time with that, because if they mess that game up, they'll literally just be BioWare at this point. And
yes.
BioWare is literally on their last strand. We've been talking about it for years now. It's me and you. And it's crazy to think about that company's even...
BioWare's in the pet cemetery right now. And the only thing that brought them back from the dead was the what's it called? Mass Effect remakes.
And that's if they don't get it right. And they've been real quiet about it too, which is smart, but... I don't know. I think this is their last chance. If they botch it like they did Andromeda, That's it for them. But that's a discussion for another day. Yeah. Starfield and Elder Scrolls though, those would be the only two games that I can see right now that would absolutely just tank it for them. But I don't know. Sony's still pretty strong, despite even their lackluster state of plays they have been having. They're still just putting it out.
It's the brand recognition that's helped them from the past generation. It's that momentum from PS4 to PS5 that's helping them.
Yeah. But it's weird because they were the hardest console to find, about a year or two ago. Like they just became available like not too long ago. Xbox has been available for the longest. Granted, only the slims, but still.
That's what happens because if you think about it, way back in the day during from PS2 PS3, same thing kind of happened. But what happened there was the 360 already had a good launch lineup of games and things to go. You already had the third Halo, you had the first Gears, you had the second Gears already coming out. You had their Forza stuff, Fable 2,
Yeah.
Xbox had that momentum that nobody was touching the PS3 back then. So now it's the reverse. Just history repeats, but it just depends which ball's in the court.
Granted, that was a much better console at the time too, because PlayStation just had a bunch of problems. They couldn't run Elder Scrolls Skyrim at all. The controller was just what the hell. Like people weren't having that.
Third parties were struggling in the PS3 days. So.
Oh heck yeah, definitely. They had some bangers though. I'll give them that, but that's about it.
But like but now since they're focusing all on their cinematic experiences, their games are going to take longer, so they have to like piggyback off of third parties, whether it be exclusive marketing rights or just something.
That is true. I'm surprised how good God of War Ragnarok was looking on PS5. Oh my goodness, it's so great.
Well, I'm not attracted to that series. And that's no disrespect to series. It's just something that never appealed to me.
You know, it's funny. I didn't even touch the series until like 2018 God of War. Like I didn't care much for the 1 through 3, but after seeing how much they changed it and how different this game could be, I was like, okay, I'm in.
I give it that. I think the Ragnarok was the first game I think in general that proved that like, okay, this visually is next gen.
Yeah, that felt like a next gen game.
Even though they did have its PS4 port, it's still both look tremendously well. Santa Monica Studios outdid themselves, and rounds of applause for that studio.
Oh yeah, they killed it. Sony's not letting them go like anytime soon.
No,
I'd be shocked if anybody get it. Oh, you know what? Speaking of which, is probably big news right now. The Xbox / Bethesda deal. How do you feel about that? You think that's
Bethesda? You mean Activision?
Activision Blizzard. My bad. Sorry.
Yes. All good.
Yeah, because that's a big deal.
That's okay. That's the one I'm saying that I think is going to happen for sure now because
they're trying their hardest to stop it.
So I don't know if turn of events happened this week.
Oh yeah.
The court has mandated Sony. I'm just getting this off secondhand because I saw this earlier this week.
Yes, far from being experts.
Basically, they have to take information from at least 2018, 2019 up until now of all exclusivity deals they've had and present it to the court.
Sony?
Sony has to show off what they've been doing.
Jeez,
so whether it be a third-party game, marketing rights, all that stuff, they have to present to the court and show. And I don't know if you know this, but the two companies have been throwing basically a childish fit at each other. Like, I don't have games. That's why I need Activision. I don't have games. That's why I need Activision. That's how they've been doing back and forth. And now the court said, all right.
And they're just raking it in.
The courts just said, we're screwing this. We're tired of this. Sony, you got to bring us all your exclusivity rights from 2018 or 19 till now. We got to see if this is what Xbox is saying is true. And Sony was like, very hesitant, but they made it mandated. So now, ooh.
Yeah, all the dirty laundry coming out.
Oh, yeah.
They have a lot of studios, I'm sure, because they've been buying stuff for a while now. And
that's what I'm saying. So,
oof, that's going to be rough, for sure. I don't...
While Xbox has bought studios, keep in mind, a lot of those games that they bought those studios themselves still make it multi-plat. Cuphead, exclusive Xbox, came to Switch, then PS4.
That's why the Bethesda thing was such a surprise. Like
Ghostwire Tokyo, I believe it's called. It was a PlayStation exclusive because Xbox honored the PlayStation exclusivity deal.
Yeah.
So
fair enough.
Sony though, anything Japanese related usually makes it exclusive to their system, or they get the rights to market it. So I don't know, man. I'm convinced this deal's going through.
Look, my thing was with Microsoft is like, okay, they put up the money. They obviously have the capital to do it. Like, I didn't realize how much they were worth until like I saw the net worth on like Wikipedia. Oh my God, it's so much different from Sony. And it's insane. So that deal for them was like nothing.
And keep in mind too, the whole conversation, they never said they're planning to make Call of Duty exclusive to Xbox, because not that long ago before this too, they signed a 10-year agreement with Nintendo to bring Call of Duty to the Nintendo platform.
Yeah, how the hell is that gonna work? Because
they've done it before in the past.
they have to stream that game at that point. That game's way too big to fit
No,
on the
they
Switch.
can make a dedicated version. Remember, back in the day of the PS3 360, the Wii had its own dedicated versions of each Call of Duty release.
I remember that, and they didn't look too bad, honestly.
No, and people preferred those games because they said the Wii remote and nunchuck,
Motion
unironically,
controls.
felt like mouse and keyboard controls.
That's fair. I remember that. I remember seeing Black Ops on the Wii, and it was so bizarre because I'm like, why would I play this on the Wii? I got an Xbox.
You would think that, but I used to play those versions, and honestly, for what they were, they worked. They actually had the budget behind them. So if they can go back to doing like dedicated versions for weaker hardware, you will still get the same experience.
I can't lie. I would love to try playing Call of Duty on Switch.
See, everybody's thinking that because everybody's thinking, oh, how's it going to work? Like, it doesn't have to be Warzone. It doesn't have to be Call of Duty Mobile. For hell,
I want to play pure Call of Duty multiplayer.
That's what I'm saying. Like, what if they just made their own dedicated Call of Duty game for Switch, and they've already signed a 10-year agreement with that, and they've been pushing that for like 10 or 15 years for Sony. Sony keeps saying no.
Nintendo did not hesitate at all.
No, because like I said, Sony has been king of Call of Duty for the past 2 generations.
They have those year one exclusives or timed exclusives. Man, insane. That's fair. I mean,
and all that dirty laundry is going to come up to the court.
It's not what you think. Definitely though. That's a hell of a thing though, man. That was a big deal. That was a big deal, and I'm surprised how much Sony's even pushing back, considering how many studios they have. They're great. I understand why they don't want certain things to be exclusive. Call of Duty would be a huge hit in their player base if that was the case.
And I can agree, because that's what boosted the PS4 to those fucking astronomical levels in terms of like attachment rate with the software.
Mm-hmm. They were killing it for like the longest time. For PS4, just dominate, like steamrolled Xbox One at the time.
But if I think I said it, but I told it before in passing, I think Sony has the potential to make not a Call of Duty killer, but a competitor. It doesn't have to be live service, but the money and potential they put into their single player content, they can definitely do it with their multiplayer.
Yeah.
But they're just afraid to try or don't want to spend the resources. Hell, they've already announced they were doing like 10 live service games already.
Shame.
Like, and they're constantly downplaying, oh, God of War or Last of Us can't compete with what Call of Duty sells. Okay, that's fair. But that's things selling on a multi-platform scale.
Right.
God of War sold 10 million on a single platform alone. Mm-hmm. And you're still going to downplay your studios like that?
They can always just put it on Xbox if they really wanted to.
If they're going to say it doesn't sell that well, all right, do it.
Right. Xbox is killing them in business plans. It's funny because Xbox is like slowly bleeding them. But they also say that like, yeah, we're losing, like Game Pass is costing us money, and that's obvious because there's no way they can have 100 games every month and just not cost anything, or break even on. And that they said the loss is worth it though, so it's crazy to think about that.
Sometimes it just depends on, I guess, like I used to, how deep the pockets were.
Yeah, they got more money, and that's simple fact. They have endless amount of resources pretty much, and Microsoft's willing to put towards it because people keep buying PCs, and especially with that Xbox Game Pass, with all this PC support they've been given, man, I don't see where Sony's either gonna really have to bring in some banger games just back to back, like nonstop, or just come up with something. I don't think PSVR 2 is gonna do anything for them.
No,
in this generation at all.
We just talked about Killzone and stuff, and I know you don't care for it, but honestly, bring it back. Bring back Resistance, Killzone, or MAG. I don't even remember MAG on PS3.
Yeah,
they can make a multiplayer shooter that like I said, it doesn't have to kill Call of Duty, but still can bring in that revenue. Like, it's only exclusive to them.
Right.
They just gotta try. I know they can do it. I'm just mad that they keep saying they can't do it.
I don't know. I think they're just scared, honestly, because it's just they see it coming, and they know that like if they don't come up with something soon, it's gonna really hurt in the future in the next console generation.
Phil Spencer has been on their doorstep with that contract saying we'll keep it on PlayStation platforms, but you guys keep saying no. They keep saying no. They're not going to get that contract anymore.
I don't know why they wouldn't do that. That's a free win. Oh, PlayStation. Woe is me.
Mm-hmm.
And especially with this lineup from their state of play, I can't lie. I'm a little worried. And a lot of those games weren't even exclusives.
Nope. And this is not to say any of those games are bad. Yeah. They're not. Like,
well, with the exception of one.
But like, everybody's got something to look forward to from that. Not things like the AAA things that people want, but you still got Street Fighter 6. You still got the RE4 remake. give or take on what you say about the rest. Just
Mm-hmm.
you got to remember their approach to gaming now is like everything has to be a big budget, like Ghost of Tsushima, God of War, Last of Us. So whatever their big games are, they're coming out slower and slower.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, I mean that's what it's gonna take for them to keep afloat because anything less, unless they come out with that that next Fortnite or whatever, then
Mm-hmm.
it's like it's impossible. I mean, Destiny can only do so much, and people are kind of upset with them right now. So
Pretty sure they regret closing Sony Japan Studios. I'm pretty sure Gravity Rush 30 would be helping them right now.
it sure would. Man, I miss Gravity Rush so much.
I miss Tokyo Jungle. I don't know if you played that one. It was like a PS3 indie game.
Yeah, I saw that fucking game. Just oof.
It's hell. Even bring back Ape Escape. Imagine a couple of Ape Escape, or even remake more PlayStation classics like another Medieval.
Yeah, you know what would save them? Bringing back the PS2 catalog, bud. That would definitely help. People would be really grateful for that.
Yeah, yeah. You want to fill out your launch lineup? Adding some classics would help.
Right. And easily, like literally, they could literally charge like maybe like $20 a month on top of the fee. Or you know what? Add an extra fee on top of the already kind of expensive, PlayStation Plus pass. And then
Bruh.
and include that.
No, at this point, no. They had their chance. Whatever the fee is, it's locked in. They don't need to charge more.
It's either that or they charge you per game, regardless.
I mean, they already do technically, because if you're not the exclusive member, you could still access them and buy it individually, like you would if it was like the PS3 store. But
Yeah,
like
certain titles, yeah.
But it's like, why? Why? Like, okay, from what this is just secondhand information I get from like other people like I listen to.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess what's going on with the PS2 thing is they're trying to figure out the emulator because these games aren't going to be native; they're going to be
That is
emulated.
BS.
They won't be streamed, but they will be emulated. And what they're struggling to find out is how to implement trophies to PS2 games. I'm like, do
That's your
people
biggest-
want that? Would you want that? Like,
not
do you want it right
really.
now?
No, just give us the games.
That's what everybody says. Like,
Simple as that.
everybody.
Trophies can always come later.
Yes, that's what they did with fucking PS3 games. Launch PS3 games didn't have trophy and they patched it in. You could just
Right.
launch because a lot of people want like the PS2 versions of like the Jack and Daxter trilogy because I guess the HD remaster of it didn't run so well.
Right.
So they would prefer the PS2 port natively, or even the same thing with the Sly trilogy PS2. You have so many Twisted Metal Black,
Yeah.
SOCOM. Hell,
That's fair.
you got a crap ton of PS2 games that are just sitting in your vault, and you're over here waiting to figure out how to put trophies in it.
Right. Hey man, they're struggling hard, and I don't know why they're making it so hard. This is the whole crossplay scenario all over again. They didn't want to do crossplay for the longest time, but PC, Nintendo, and Xbox all jumped in it with no problem. And then it came Sony's turn. They were like, "No, we're gonna make you wait
Yeah,
for no reason
for
at all."
years.
And then all of a sudden they're like, "Oh, people are not getting our platform enough. Oh, okay. I guess we're gonna start doing crossplay."
Mm-hmm.
And that's what's gonna happen. They're gonna They're gonna get real low, and then they're gonna bring out the whole thing again, and they're gonna rework the PlayStation Pass or Essentials or whatever, and it's just gonna be just that,
PlayStation kings of backpedaling on their word.
pretty much, and a lot of censorship too. It's freaking me out.
Yep.
I can't imagine for games back then either. It's like things were a lot more like loose, I guess you could say.
They were completely fine on the PS2 era, and then even PS3, they were still fine with PS3. It's just once PS4 hit and Vita, they started censoring a lot for no reason.
Yeah, which is weird because there was a lot of PS3 games that were just like, okay, how is this not censored?
Yes.
Right. And then no one really cared. No one really complained.
No.
And then I don't know what changed. And then all of a sudden it started picking up like a lot. And it was like weird games too. Like Tales of Berseria got censored because somebody got like stabbed and like they held him on the sword, but instead they just killed him with like a piece with magic. And it's like this is the same thing, but it's not a sword.
Yes.
Why? What's the difference? This is not censorship. This is just some weird BS they decided to do at the last minute.
Or in Devil May Cry 5 on the PlayStation version, Trish, when Dante's carrying Trish in her arms, she's nude, but they have like that glowing magical white light anime thing that censors her body. But in the Xbox version, it's all there. It's like, and it was just her ass. It wasn't even her titties. It was just her ass. I'm like,
yeah, Sony is definitely.
but no, have Last of
precarious.
Us 2 where you can have a full on sex scene.
Yeah. Spoilers, by the way, if you haven't already seen it.
Ugh.
Aside from the state of the games and Sony's
The-
slow decline, what else? Well, I guess Nintendo Direct.
Mm-hmm.
How'd you feel about that one?
So I think this is something that a lot of people aren't talking about as much that I would like to bring attention. Were you a big fan of level 5? You know, Kunio.
Nino Kuni?
Thank you.
Level 5?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. That level 5. They made a huge presence at the direct. They're getting a new Professor Layton, which were big on the DS.
Saw that.
They got a new Deca Police, which is like a weird RPG cop based game. It's very stylish. It hella reminds me of like Layton or Inazuma 11, but even a bit of Persona vibes, just in like the aesthetics, just a bit. But it's just really cool.
I'm surprised more games didn't take after that. How stylish that game was, because dang, Persona 5 was just an experience. Like that game was great.
I think they just didn't want to look at as a Persona 5 like copycat, but maybe since enough time has passed, they can do it without being judged complete like that. I mean, that's fair. That's the vibe they gave me when I saw it, but
literally a change in theme would literally change that. But
a 3DS hidden gem is getting a sequel called Fantasy Life. My friend Hugo was a huge fan of it. To describe its gameplay is like, you ever played RuneScape? It's like RuneScape, but anime.
Really? Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, it's getting a Switch sequel, and I think in a Japanese side of the direct, I think where they're just showing more of the Inazuma 11 game. I could be wrong though, but then I think in the Japanese direct, the very first in the Atelier games is getting a remake. Yes,
I saw that. I definitely want to try it. Steam just had a sale too, like last week of Atelier games. And I wish I just didn't have bills, because I would have so got all of them right then and there.
Yep. And then they highlighted that Ryza's coming out next month, so gave us a quick spotlight to Ryza.
That's Ryza 3, right?
Ryza 3, yep.
The final one.
Yes.
Supposedly.
All right. Well, final for her because she made the money.
So sad. Man, I can't believe how much that game came up.
Fire Emblem DLC was shown off at the event, which showed off more emblems, or I guess they were personas basically.
Should we care though?
Huh?
Should we care?
Yes, because then they showed off a prologue DLC, epilogue DLC, so more story content. It is that good, and I honestly like the emblems they picked.
I haven't touched Fire Emblem since like Three Houses.
You would really like it, Engage. It's really that good.
Oh yeah.
It's all about. I don't know how you feel about Persona, whether you like the romance or the combat side more, or you
love it both.
So Three Houses focus more on like the relationship, and Engage is all about combat. So I think you would like it more because it's like go.
I like the story bits though. They were interesting for the most part.
They're not gone. They're not completely gone. But if you just care about like really like tight controls and like combat and all that, you would like Engage a lot more with how fast the combat goes.
Okay, I'll give it a chance. I'll check it out. My Switch is eclectic dust anyway.
And then we were just talking about how PlayStation is not adding their PS2 stuff, and then here comes in the direct. The Game Boy and Game Boy Advance line are on the Switch right now. And next week, they're adding Metroid Fusion.
Oh, nice. I know you're excited for that. Big smile on your face, bud.
So Fusion was was the first one I played because I knew what Metroid was because of Smash. And then like I did eventually dabble here and them. But Fusion's the one I played the most because I'd always go to this Walmart with my family. And there was always like this old ass Game Boy kiosk so you could just play whatever is in the Game Boy.
Right.
Fusion was always in the one I was always at. And then I just grew attached to Fusion. And years down the line, when I got my 3DS and there was like the whole ambassador program, everybody who was an ambassador for the 3DS got Metroid Fusion as a free game.
Nice.
And I think yeah, because I haven't touched the whole series yet, but I think Fusion is my favorite Metroid.
Oh, okay, nice. It's not bad.
And then the lineup for those Game Boy Advance and Game Boy Color games were. Let's see. You had Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga, a Japanese/European exclusive called Kururin, which is you ever played like an irritating stick game where you have to like guide a pole or something up and down to make sure you don't touch the electrical wires or else it's game over?
Right.
It's something like that, so it's cute.
That's weird.
The first WarioWare game with what else was there? Minish Cap.
No Pokemon?
No, and that's the crazier part. Like when the Pokemon
Thank God.
When Pokemon Day came and went, we thought we were gonna get a Pokemon game. We didn't get any, and everyone was like, "What the fuck?"
Everyone was like, "Yeah, we'll have them." I don't think we're done.
We don't know. We do know for sure. Like on that side, is at some point Pokemon Stadium 1 and 2 are still coming.
Okay. Oh, those haven't even been out yet. Like nothing. No release dates.
Not yet, and we thinking it has to do something with the Game Boy Pokemon games because they're going back and forth on the compatibility, and we're thinking whenever it's fixed, I think we're gonna see Gens 1, 2, and 3 of Pokemon, but I know for sure we're getting the card game as one of the Game Boy games as well.
That's cool. Has there been like any new Pokemon card game iteration, like how Yu-Gi-Oh does?
Uh,
Because Pokemon Go is cool, but like I think a card game would be much better than that.
there's the closest one I can give to you that's not on a Nintendo platform has just been on a as like an app in the website where they
Mm.
just do it like that, like I think like how Magic does it.
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah. It's all
But
just on the website.
I'm surprised though because everybody really liked the Pokemon Game Boy Color game because it was just I don't know it was a good way to introduce the if you never played the card game to play the card game that way.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just surprised they never did that for the Switch. It was like with how good the card game is, you think you would release that like you just said like a Yu-Gi-Oh type game, but for Pokemon. It's just weird.
Yeah, that's fair. It's, especially with how big Pokemon is, and still it's still like going even now. Even though Ash just technically finished his story, I guess.
His story is
In a
wrapping
sense.
up sometime this year, and then a new protagonist will completely take over. And
Sometime this year, they say. Nope, spinoff series. It's gonna be a spinoff series, I'm sure, to some degree.
and then yes, probably. Then you got Metroid Prime, which everybody was like losing their shit over because
Yeah, people had their jaws like on the floor when that was like announced, and it was great.
yes, and I'm playing it. It is literally as good as I've seen it.
As good as you remember.
Yes.
Nice. Yeah, that was surprise. That was probably its biggest surprise, aside from showing off Tears of the Kingdom.
Oh yeah. Okay, so I wasn't the only one, and I'm glad when I saw it on everybody's reaction to it. A lot of people were comparing this part where Link was on like on this weird 4x4 rig that was like a just imagine a big square with four wheels on it and it's just
Mhm.
going down a mountain. People hella compared it already. It's like, why does that look like the car from Banjo Kazooie Nuts and Bolts? I'm like,
bruh,
that's not, it's just funny that I wasn't the only one who thought that.
man.
But no, that game looks phenomenal. You have a whole underground to explore, you have the whole sky to explore, and you still have all of regular Hyrule lands to explore.
Right. It's
That-
crazy where they put the new additions at instead of like before it was just surface level and maybe a little high up in some mountains. But now it's like it's you're in the sky and you're going underground. That's kind of scary for a Zelda game.
Oh yeah, because the closest we've ever had to anything like that was Skyward Sword, but it was there were load screens. Let's being for real. It's just like you fly to this location, you drop, but you didn't actually do anything. No, everything Link is doing from what he saw is in real time. So
Yeah.
oh god, I get like motion sickness sometimes when I'm like whenever you're like you ever look down in the game and as you jump off to see if there's fall damage and you just like
Mm-hmm. Man, yeah. Imagine that in a PSVR too, or like the Oculus Rift. Oh my
Oh, no,
goodness, dude,
I
it's
puke.
insane. And you got to play Hitman VR. It's great, and it's kind of scary because taking a gun, just mowing everybody down, is strangely just realistic. It's weird.
That sounds like fun.
But that's a side note. But but yeah, but Zelda definitely has the underground sections kind of worry me because I know Zelda's like has infamous for having those kind of like underground water dungeons that are just like horrible to explore.
Ah no, like that was just a one water temple, and then everybody made it the biggest deal of it.
What about the one with the I forget which game it was, but there's like a huge hand that comes down and like literally just picks you up and puts you back at the beginning of the dungeon?
Oh, that's been there since the beginning, but that's just an enemy at that point.
Okay. Because man, from when I saw the gameplay when I was watching like Outside Xbox, I was just like, that's insane. I wouldn't even want to bother with that.
No, those things are fun to fuck around with, and they like once you get used to it and you know what to do, you can stop those suckers.
Okay, cool. That's good to know. Anything else you want to talk about from the Nintendo Direct? Because I think that was pretty much it. Aside from Octopath Traveler 2.
I got that actually. I haven't touched it yet because I need to finish the first one, but I did pick up my copy of that. But
Nice.
not from the Direct, but I think post Direct we got some leaks concerning Pokemon, and let me put it like this. So I think this year is the Switch's Twilight year, as in like it's the swan song where it's like gonna sail out.
Hmm.
And after what happened
Big
with Metroid
words.
Prime,
Mm-hmm.
I think here's what's gonna happen. 2 is gonna happen in their summer direct. I don't call it the E3 because nobody's doing E3 apparently.
And they're still having the event. I don't know who's gonna. Well, they'll have presence there, but they won't be like a show for them.
Yeah, we just don't know who's gonna be there. But we know Nintendo usually has a direct during the
It's
summer.
nobody.
So we have the summer direct where I think they're gonna drop Metroid Prime 2.
Mm-hmm.
Then I think in the fall direct they're gonna drop 3. And when they have their winter direct / end of the year kind of thing, they're gonna announce 4.
That's so like close back to back.
4 is gonna be a cross-platform game for Switch and New Switch, whatever the fuck that second thing is called.
Well, you forgot the new Switch needs to be announced first, right?
That's where I'm getting at. I think because they don't usually announce new systems at E3 anymore. Ever since the Wii U debacle, they kind of like
Yeah.
took that as bad juju. So They're
Yeah.
staying away from that, and I think comes fall, even I'm just like spitballing, but come fall when they announce Prime 3, we're probably gonna get the first like cinematic or even gameplay trailer for. And at the end of that, they're gonna tease it, and give it a release date of like 2024,
Mm-hmm.
and it's gonna say Switch, and then like code name whatever the hell the next system is gonna be.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll make a note of it
That's
on the thing.
That's the
prediction.
vibe I'm thinking on. That the Switch is gonna end not on Zelda but on Metroid. Because the fact that not just that, after the direct, they opened up a whole brand new website that's just highlighting all of Metroid's history, saying, "Oh, here's all the games on Switch. You can play the NES Metroid, Super Metroid, Metroid Fusion, Metroid 2, the Samus Return of Samus on Game Boy Color, and Prime and Dread." They had no reason to be pushing Metroid as hard as they are, and yet here they are.
I mean, did you see the reaction they got when they announced the remaster? They were like, people were freaking out. Like, people were screaming just as loud as like they just announced like Breath of the Wild like 3 back to back with Tears of the Kingdom.
I really think that this, like the Switch generation going to the next one, I think they're gonna try to make Metroid as big as Fire Emblem. Because remember, Fire Emblem was about to die, and then it came back. I think the same thing's gonna happen with Metroid.
Yeah, I can see that. People have been pining for it. They've been asking for years. I don't. So for me, I don't think it'll happen so soon. Nintendo's kind of slow when it comes to things like this, but I definitely think they'll announce it in that order. But I just don't think it'll be this soon. Not this year, at least. I'd say
Beginning of next year, maybe like sometime in the
mid next year we'll have an announcement of 4, or at least just the Switch 2.
Gotcha.
Because if nothing's happening at E3, unless they do something at like TGS or like some other event or Gamescom, then I just can't see them doing anything else, or just announcing it on Nintendo Direct. But then I feel like that'd be a little bit lackluster just to do it on their own platform.
Yeah.
It's like we kind of expect it. It'd be big for sure. The tension would be there, but I don't know. That's the presence they want to be. I think they want to be surrounded by everybody when they announce it.
Because what I've noticed is like when they do their E3 and their Tokyo Direct or Tokyo Game Show stuff, they don't do it the time the events are happening. They do it either a week before or a week after, to just have that hype surrounding it. Because last year when they announced like all these other like things like the Rise of 3 and all the other stuff, it was a couple of days before Tokyo Game Show.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking that's probably where you're at too. So
right.
I say give it to Tokyo Game Show, and if we get Prime 2 or 3 around that time, then I can see like either Switch 2 or something happening.
Yeah, because I mean, like let's be honest. Like, if they announce it for like Switch now, that means people are gonna want it for either the Switch now, the current Switch, and then the Switch in the future too, whatever they decide to call it, Switch Heavy or Switch Light, Switch whatever. They'll have to make it for both. So they're definitely gonna have to wait at least for the majority of those games for the next Switch if they want it to make a big impact.
And their cross-platform games are usually good, or their cross-platform like big heavy hitters. Like the first time they did this was the Twilight Princess. It was a GameCube and Wii game, and even Skyward Sword was a Wii U and Switch game.
True.
So I could see Prime 4 being the next one to do to take that step to being the whole cross-generation thing.
Yeah. The only way I could see them like announcing it super early, like this year, like all of them, is if when the new Switch comes out, then they can just pretty much put out a collection of it right then and there and charge like $70-$80.
I could see that because my plan with how I'm saying them doing 2 and 3 in like a few months, I'm seeing them doing probably like a Switch 2, like even like super resolution version of those games.
Yeah.
For that price.
I just hope whatever they put out next is just a regular console. I have been saying this for years now. Nintendo just needs to do a regular console. No more gimmicks. No more gyro. No more.
Well, everybody's doing gyro. PlayStation's doing it.
That's fine, but I just think Nintendo just needs to like slide back a bit. Let's focus on these graphics a bit. Get our games upscaled. Get our teams up to date on what they need to do and with their engines and whatnot, because they definitely need the upgrades. And let's focus a bit, on hardware.
I think it'll be fine because I'm like I said, from every bit of things that comes out leaking, I'm hearing that the Switch 2, 4, whatever the fuck, Switch Pro, it's calling it that. The successor is going to be a portable PS4 Pro 0.5.
Yeah, I'll give them this. If they can put out 1080p at least with a handheld running like that at least 60 frames, I'd be satisfied with that. They don't even need to hit 4K at that point. If they can do that, I'd be satisfied.
I would just say I'd be satisfied for if it's docked, it's like 1440p 60 locked, and even like you said, handheld, it's 1080p 60 locked. If
Right.
it's as long as those two, that's all I care about too.
You know what? I haven't tried it yet, playing it on my gaming monitor, but I never docked it on my gaming monitor. I'm curious how that Switch interacts with the gaming monitor compared to like a regular TV.
Very well. A lot of gaming monitors work well with Switch
Oh, yeah?
because, well, for one, Smash players who host tournaments, they only use
That
gaming monitors.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because the refresh rate and whatnot.
Mhm.
But I'm just talking about like for the rest of the console. Like other games, like
I think you
Smash. Well, Smash I guess would be geared towards the fighting games.
try it with their like. I would try it with like even like using demos. Like whenever you get a chance, try it with your monitor and just download some demos of like Octopath or Monster Hunter. I know you don't like it.
See, Octopath is a different story though. That's a much more low tier game. You can max that out on anything pretty much.
True, but it still takes a lot to like get what it's trying to do presentation wise.
I hear you.
Because they are the ones who invented the new what is now called 2D HD.
Yeah. The only game that's really wowed me is just the Kirby Return to Dreamland. Like I've been having fun with that.
It
looks great.
can't go wrong with Kirby.
Really though. People were complaining about one of the games. I think it was a remake of the other one they put out.
Oh, no. Funny enough, the only Kirby game they got complaints on the Switch at the moment was a pseudo racing game where it's just like a little. He gets fat eating food all the way down the racetrack. The newest one is what they're hyping up because it's a Wii remake. It's a remake of a Wii game.
Right.
And people thought it was just going to be the same game with just a higher visual and all that. No, they added a whole ass campaign mode for the bad guy of that game. And people are like, what the fuck? And it's like a pseudo mini RPG because the guy has like a skill tree system to get to his upgrades to where he was before. You can even see a redemption of him becoming Kirby's friend and not an enemy anymore. I'm like, why did they do this with Kirby? They don't have to go that hard with him.
Give him all this lore for no reason.
His lore is fucked up.
It really is though. But it makes sense. To a degree.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's enough about Nintendo. It was great talking about that. But let's get into something a little bit more heavy, per se. And that's PlayStation State of Play. I assume you watched it. Please say you watched it.
I skimmed through it.
That's fair.
There wasn't anything that caught my attention outside of like, I'm hyped for Street Fighter 6, so seeing Zangief, Cammy, and Lily's trailer just hyped me up for the gameplay.
Yes, I would probably have to literally just buy that game just to learn Cammy.
You'll have fun.
I bet. See if I can dominate it like the first match in the whole game.
You're going to be eyeballing her too much. You're just going to be losing every match.
Nah, I have more sense than that, dude. But I have my New Year's resolution this year was to learn more fighting game stuff. And Street Fighter 6 might be a place to start. But man, then they announced Grand Blue Fantasy Relink 2. I was like, I might have to do that. I had the first one. I still haven't touched it.
Oh, you know what? I hella forgot one from the State of Play that actually got me hyped.
And that is?
The new Ninja Storm game.
Oh, the freaking
Connections.
Ultimate Ninjas Connections.
Yeah.
Terrible name, by the way.
Terrible name. Terrible name. But
easily could have called that Bonds. But
I'm hyped for what it is because it's a pseudo remake of the first three games, or at least taking the story from all three games, turning into one jumbo game plus 4 and adding more on top of that.
And the old Naruto too as well. Those characters are in it as well.
Mm-hmm.
And also, they're adding more with the the Otsuchiki stories, basically. That's just crazy to think about. Like, you could put more into that game. That's a big game.
Yes.
My only question is, what took so long? We haven't had a Storm game in like a good amount of years now.
And it's funny because we haven't had a Storm game in a good amount of years. And on top of that, it's another. I can't say it's another remake. No, it's just a remake. You think they would come swing in with Storm 5, but maybe there's not enough content in Boruto just yet to make a real Storm 5.
That's fair, because that was DLC for the last
Storm 4, yeah.
Yeah. I'll say this much: if that game is literally from like Naruto, from like base Naruto all the way to like through Shippuden, I'd be shocked because that's a full on new game at that point. Like then I can understand why it took so long. If all those handcrafted cutscenes were all in there like that, I'll give them credit for that. I'll give them the pass and the time it took.
I don't know if you saw though, even though it was in the PlayStation Direct thing, it was a multi-platform game, so it's coming to everything.
Yeah, which is great. Which is not surprising for that game because I'd be shocked if it was just exclusive.
Oh yeah, no. If they want to bring back the Stormies, they got to make sure they get as much money back from it as they can.
Oh heck yeah, because if they made it exclusive, it would lose more money than it'd make.
And I'm just glad because the only thing we ever got from Naruto for the longest time was just the Shinobi Striker thing, and I was just
no one touched it.
No one touched it. As much
all.
DLC as they put out for it, like nobody wanted to go near that.
And the crazy part is, it didn't even look like a bad game. It just was just not what people wanted.
No, you can't go from the hype of Storm 3 and 4 to that and be like, "Nah, man, I'm good."
Right. We just fought a war, and you can literally like watch all of Naruto in that game.
Yes.
And it's like go to that, just like
I always suggest people, if they ask me, what do you think of Naruto? Play the game.
Right.
I would rather you play the Storm games than watch the series or read the manga.
Exactly. And then that's just the perfect alternative. And it's great how well adapted those games are too. That team killed that game.
Yes, they did.
And man, they've been doing that. They've been doing that for game for years, like since PS2. It's crazy to think about.
Praise them.
I know they're fucking sick of it too. I just know they're just tired of it.
I mean, they to be fair, they did take a break with it, and they went on to do Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. So maybe they missed doing the Naruto stuff. So probably coming back feels like home to them.
Yeah, I wasn't. Kakarot was cool, but not in the way I thought it was gonna be.
I know people thought when they saw Kakarot, it was gonna be, oh, is this gonna be like a Dragon Ball Ninja Storm? It's like, no, it's just an RPG, and people are like, the hell?
People were so thrown off by that game, but it wasn't bad. It was like it was a good time, but
Yes.
it just wasn't what I think a lot of people expected.
That's what happens when you get a developer's name attached to something. You're immediately expecting this from
Right.
that.
It's like, oh, like Muso or like a Toei Tecmo or whatever made a Muso game. It's like, oh, if they made it, oh, it's gonna be a Muso game of some kind, and then they just do it every
Yeah.
time, and it's perfectly well. I was surprised when I saw the Fire Emblem versions of those games. I was just like, wow, I can't believe how well this works.
Yes. Or same thing with Persona. Nobody thought fucking Koei
Right?
Tecmo Persona would work.
They killed it. I'm surprised how well they adapted. My biggest concern with that game was just like keeping that heart of the game from that from that genre, from that RPG genre, even though it's not the most complicated RPG game, but to bring it to that and to make it work and still let you do like technically, turn-based battles is insane. It's crazy to think about.
Koei Tecmo, like whenever they get the license to make a Warrior spinoff of something, they always respect the license. They do their best to give like the fans
do.
all the fan service and all the things. It's just when you see their usual Dynasty and Samurai Warriors output versus Hyrule Wars or Persona Strikers, like
Right.
one of these things is not like the other.
Even the soundtrack remixes were incredibly
Oh,
great.
yes.
They were so good. I was surprised. Instantly downloaded all of that
Mm-hmm.
for free too. Yeah. How'd you feel about any VR games that caught your attention? Because they showed off a lot.
I do not care for the VR.
I do to a degree, but there's only like 2 games that I cared about, and they're just first-person shooters. That's pretty much VR's best experience you can get with like VR. Is just that or Hitman VR.
There was one game that had a good concept I liked, but I just like it's not gonna make me go out of my way to get a VR still.
It's so expensive, dude. It's like $500.
$500 if you don't have this on top of that. So it's $1,000 just to play VR.
Right. You might as well get the MetaQuest too. Hell, my mid-range PC can run that thing no problem. And it's great. I had a great time with that VR headset. I might just get that one instead of the PlayStation one because a lot of those games weren't exclusive either.
Nope. And it's not that I want this thing to fail. I want VR technology to advance because it's just, you want to see cool things come out of cool stuff. But I think what shot them in the foot is they didn't make anything backwards compatible. And yeah, there's 40 games right now for the year, but it's like, dude, why don't you just make it backwards compatible? Because then you've shot a lot of people in the foot. Like, oh, well, I can't play my older games on this?
Right.
Well, I guess I'll wait.
Thing that's kind of disappointing me is a Japanese company making VR games. Why is there no SAO or any kind of anime style game at all from a big developer? I've seen some small ones that look pretty good, but that should be a slam dunk. Anime fans would eat that up.
You're not wrong. Nobody's really done anything good with VR Japanese wise.
Right. And it's like I'm seeing like only things I'm really seeing are, cool little experiences, some really fancy tech demos of some kind, some cool first person shooters on rails, or
You know, it'd be a crazy thing to bring back.
what?
Dot hack.
Oh God. I think that was a bad memory for people in that kind of sense.
But I think it could work because since it was like a pseudo MMO / turn-based style RPG, at least the first, like, I don't know how it was called, like a saga.
I don't know, man. They'd really have to adapt that because that fan base alone wasn't even that big back then.
No,
Compared to how it could be now, it's just nah.
but with that cult following they have, getting that onto the VR, I think could help it out. Like it might not be a lot, but it would be a good push to get like other developers to try. Even if dot hack isn't the best one to do it, it could be the first one to try and have others perfect it.
That's fair. And I mean that if not them, just SAO in general. People for as much as people hate SAO, people love it, and it's crazy to think about because it went from really being really great to being kind of mid, and still kind of just sat there at mid the whole time. Granted, it's still okay in my eyes, but whatever. Each his own. They need a VR game that's just gonna like wow somebody. Like I just feel like they haven't pushed the boundary for as much effort as they're putting into it.
All the fucking isekai animes that came out, not just of SAO, but just all of them. Like you got Jobless Reincarnation or
Right.
Overlord.
Right.
Even if it's just like a simple like slice of life game, like
Yep.
Do something with it. You
Even Steam has like a manga game where you can like watch a manga unfold like in VR, and it's freaking interesting.
Oh, see, like even small apps like that would be nice.
Exactly. But now they're focusing on. I just think there's a developer who wants to take up that challenge. That's a hard sell though too. Like anime games, yeah, they're great. They sell pretty decently when it's this right series, but at the same time, it's like, ooh, it's kind of hard to
That's fair.
convince an entire
It's still
company to take a chance on that.
it's still like with how even with all the merchandise we see, all the fucking whatever of anime, it's still somehow niche.
Right.
Somehow niche.
Yeah, that is true. It's just because the risk is higher than the reward right now, and that's just hard to overcome for people. I can understand that. That was the problem like Vita was having for a while. It's like, yeah, this console's amazing, and it's like it's this really great piece of tech, but at the same time, it's like, damn, this company doesn't want to. Should I risk my like company to make this and waste resources when I can make another game on a regular console and make regular money?
And
It's just high risk, high reward, and I just think right now the risk is just too high for it. I think someone just really needs. I think Sony just needs to really just either together a studio who can do it, or just fund it themselves.
That's
because that's the only way it's gonna happen.
they'll carry the VR too, and I don't think it'll sell as well as the first PlayStation VR, but I think it won't be a failure. It'll be fine.
Oh yeah, it'll do fine because people are interested in VR. Sony's done pretty good with the last one. Even after a few years, you can find one for regular PSVR for a pretty decent price, like $120. That's nothing now.
Yeah,
and it works fairly well even now. And it's great to see. So I'm gonna ask, how'd you feel about Street Fighter 6? I know you're really excited about it.
I am hyped. I know the roster was leaked a while ago, but just still watching the characters get their own dedicated moment in their trailers is always fun to watch. I'm over here just excited to play the game. Like I've been this hyped for a Street Fighter since 4.
Damn.
I know that's only like it doesn't sound like a lot, but you have to count each iteration of a game. You have from 4 to Super
Deluxe.
Arcade Edition and Ultra and all these other ways. But
yeah,
just 5 was so boring.
Was it? That's unfortunate.
I just couldn't get into it. I did not like the art style either. Like the characters and all that were cool, but the art style for 5 sucks and
too bold or too like real.
Too plain.
Too plain, really?
Too plain. And Ken looked like he had banana for hair.
That's fair.
But everybody here, they got like that. They got a style to them. Like,
yeah, it's much more like attention to detail.
Like Street Fighter 4, its art style was like that Japanese water stroking paint. You know what I mean? Like that, like I don't know, like the kanji painting, whatever they do in like the
calligraphy.
Yeah, thank you. Maybe Japanese calligraphy. Thank you.
Right.
But Street Fighter 6 is going for like a more urban / street look, and it looks really fucking good. Because the last time they did that was with Street Fighter 3.
Mm-hmm.
It just works. And I love how flashy it is. Like this game has color.
Right.
That's what I like.
It wasn't so bland.
It's not. And all the characters like, and they're doing a time skip. So you have like older Ryu, you got like older Chun-Li, Ken. He's going on if you read the website, he's going on a secret mission, so he has no access to all his money. It's like holy shit.
Right.
And the new characters they got are like, they're kind of doing like this character's the daughter, or this character's implied to be the daughter of T-Hawk. Because the character from Street Fighter 2 days has a daughter playing his fighting style, but now because she's smaller than her dad, she's more agile. So it's like they're doing cool stuff like that, where it's like the next generation of fighters.
Right.
I'm like hoping for like some of my favorites to come back. Like I'm hoping we get like a Sakura to come back again, and maybe even Makoto or Ibuki and Elena.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, those are some great ones. There's always the DLC characters.
Oh yeah, their DLC has been spot on. The adventure mode looks good. I'm just sold on Street Fighter 6. I want to play it.
Right. That's good. Yeah, it looked great. I might have to get me a copy, even though I'd probably just not play as fully as I could. But I'm interested. We'll see. We'll see which fighter I decide to go with. I've been told I should choose one and then stick with that one for a while before I start branching out.
Yes, that is whoever told you that was actually that's a good way to put it, because if you got to find which Street Fighter you like before you're delving into the rest, because there is no such thing as what is the best Street Fighter, because everybody has a different take on that. As much as I didn't like 5, I knew some people considered it 5 at the best on like a fundamental / competitive level.
Yeah. Up to date graphics and gameplay settings,
So
that makes sense.
Yeah, it depends on who you ask. They think a Street Fighter is the best? You got to find your answer for that.
Yeah, great, cool, gonna be fun. Get my ass handed to me for the whole entire 2 years. I think that's how long it takes to learn those games.
Just got to put a smile on your face when you do it.
It's hard. It's hard when they just KOing you perfect wins.
All right, then put a smiley face when they give like your Cammy a new like swimsuit DLC.
I didn't think about it. I do love swimsuit DLC though. I can't lie. But yeah, man, those Smash tournaments. I've been watching some videos of those. Oh my god, I did not know Smash people were so crazy. People go ham on that game.
You're opening the curtain to the FGC.
I'm literally just starting to see it. I'm peeking through because I watched some Smash. Me and my cousin were watching some Smash like reaction and like tournament wins. And wow, I've just never watched a person smash a controller so many times in like a session.
You need to watch like Guilty Gear, like King of Fighters reactions. That shit goes insane, especially tournaments in Mexico and all that.
Oh, I've seen them. They're crazy.
Mm-hmm.
There was one we were watching with Marvel vs. Capcom. Guy came back playing freaking Akuma and just literally wiped his 3 characters. And I was like, wow, that's incredible.
Oh, it's always like that's satisfying as fuck to watch.
Yeah, it is. And it's crazy. The commentary be getting me the most though.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
really great. Good fighting games. That's great. So back on topic. State of Play's biggest, I guess technically their biggest announcement or biggest controversial announcement. Suicide Squad.
Oh,
Kill the Justice League.
I hella forgot that because I put that in the back of my mind.
Yeah.
Try to bury it.
That game, man. Wow. What a game. That game, man, it's hard to even put it into words, but like I'm so worried for that game right now. It's giving me Avenger vibes all over again.
I said that too. As soon as I saw it, I was looking at it, I was like, it's gonna be Avengers all over again.
Like I usually don't like to just sit there and hate on a game until like I played it. But damn, it's like the moment they said live service, like, you could just see the comments in the live stream just be like live service. Like what? That's some BS. Like
They just everybody was ready to take that game and shoot it out back.
Right. Because when you saw the gameplay, I was like, okay, cool. It's fast paced. It's cool. Everyone's got like their own class. It seems like it's kind of competent, as far as systems go. RPG mechanics were a little bit weird, but it looked like the fun was there. And then they said live service, and everyone was just like, nah.
No,
we're done.
They just okay. So I know it wasn't them. This is a completely separate team, but Warner Brothers just got off like whatever the reaction was to Gotham Knights, the Nightwing, Robin, Batgirl, and Red Hood game.
Yeah,
they just got off a reaction to that where the game was just mediocre. It wasn't bad. It wasn't good. It was just mediocre at best.
Right.
But now you got this game, and even though it's being done by Rocksteady, the Arkham guys, it's just like, why did you make them do this?
Yeah, it hurts even more because they made great games. Like people love those Arkham games, and to see them do this, it's like you can see where all the effort is at, but it's like at the same time, it's just like
you got people complaining about the smallest things, like. You got this dude named Captain Boomerang. He's using guns. Why the fuck isn't he using boomerangs? Like you have King Shark using guns. Like, oh my god! Like, I'm like, I really don't want this to like kill Rocksteady because they can do great games, but it's just like
I doubt it. They just need to stay in single player and just leave the whole multiplayer team aspect out of it because it just doesn't seem to work when it comes to 4-player co-op and a story game based gameplay or game world, I guess. Then it doesn't work. Like Evolve had the same problem, like it sounded great on paper, but the moment people started seeing it and started really playing with it, they started to see the flaws.
I think you got to think about it too, because this game was announced fucking years ago, still during the PS4 era. Mm-hmm. And during that time, what games do you think made it big back then, right? Mm-hmm. Destiny, right. Even I don't know, it's 4 players. I don't know anything about it, but that game actually made the looter shooter genre big. Same thing with Borderlands.
Yeah.
So whatever Warner Brothers was looking at back then, thinks is gonna work now.
Yeah,
somebody needed to say something to change course, but I think it's too late, and they gotta put it out there, and we gotta see what happens.
It's too far in now. Like the cool thing about Destiny is that Bungie never gave up with it. Like that was the whole great thing about it. Like because when Destiny launched, that game got shitted on so hard it was ridiculous. Like bare bones gameplay, no end game, nothing to really do, repetitive gameplay and strikes, and multiplayer. People were like, "Yeah, what the hell." And this is supposed to be Bungie's, next big thing. But, Bungie took the criticism, they stuck with it, and they made something better. Granted, here and there, every expansion or two, they might slip up and, not add enough or, might do some weird changes that don't make any sense, that aren't really that great. But then again, they always come up and really deliver when it really counts. Mm-hmm. And, with the new Lightfall DLC, people are starting to go towards, that, okay, you guys are slipping. What's going on? And it's just, but at the time, Bungie's the only one who can really get away with that right now. Borderlands 3, can do it. They have the system. The gameplay wise is perfect. Gameplay is amazing. Guns are awesome. The world and mechanics and the system itself they put implemented for like multiplayer itself, incredible. Those changes are great. Like playing, you can literally play on 2 different levels, get 2 different types of guns, and you guys aren't affecting each other at all. You guys
Holy
are playing
shit.
your own story. That's fucking great. But the story was just terrible. Like characters were doing weird things. The humor sucked, which is probably supposed to be the best part of your game is the humor. It's corny, cringy. It's bad. Like I'm pretty lenient with stuff like that when it comes to games, but damn, when you have me cringing up like that, it's just no, it's not. It doesn't work.
That's not a good sign.
Right? I didn't even care about the story after like about 5 hours in. Like
That's what I heard. Just
Yeah.
like a lot of people checked out of the story. Like they said, it's fun, but it's boring.
right, and it just makes you just shake your head, just like why would she do that? Especially when the ending. Oh my god, the ending was so bad. I've never seen a more bad ending game in ever. Like it just doesn't make any sense.
That's
Bring Handsome Jack back. That's all I gotta say. He will literally save the game.
that's pretty bad. And I'm hoping maybe in some fucking miracle that just the Suicide Squad does something. But
Yeah, I hope the game does well because I mean, it looked like it looked like it was gonna be decent, and it was gonna be a real serious thing. But I don't know what's with Suicide Squad lately and just this like momentum it's having. Grant I don't know if it's the movies or just the comics or whatever, but they're getting a real big push and
it's because so this one I do know. I think it's Warner Brothers wanting to make it be their Guardians of the Galaxy. They want to make it like that type of deal, which it's not a bad idea in concept, but the problem is
it's a little late, bud.
that and outside of Harley, the gimmick of the Suicide Squad, it's always villains rotating out to be part of those assignments.
Mm-hmm.
So you're never gonna have a core cast to follow. So like the concept is fine on paper, but in the comics, that's not how it works. So it's
Right.
like you're not gonna get those results you want.
Right.
I mean, the last movie I saw with Suicide Squad was still funny. I liked it a lot, and then the Peacemaker show I heard was really funny and good. So, but you it's not gonna work. You guys gotta ease back on it and really think about what you're doing. And honestly, they should have just took their time and had Rocksteady instead of doing this. They probably should have just started slowly building a Justice League game. You did 4 Batman games, cool. Move on to the next guy. Do Superman.
You would think that would have been the next step.
Do Wonder Woman. Like hell, how cool? How crazy?
Flash
Flash. Hear me out. Ready? Wonder Woman, but in the God of War style.
would have killed it.
Flash. I'm Infamous. Make Flash like Infamous.
Mm-hmm. You know what would have been really cool? Literally, each character plays different, like a different type of game. Wonder Woman like God of War, The Flash like Infamous. What's the other guy's name? A Green Lantern like how could you
Like in Prototype? How about that? Like Prototype.
Like Prototype.
Because he creates
Perfect.
constructs, right?
Exactly. That would have been fire. And then bring all that together in one game universally, bruh. Oh, Superman like Spider-Man. That was an easy win. Instead of swinging, he's flying.
Yeah.
That could have easily been it. And then game mechanics are progressed far enough to be able to do that.
Could have had some DLC characters and
Right.
and have like mini campaigns with them and like explore like, oh, this will be in the sequel. Here's a taste of what they can do. Here's like Aquaman using like summoning like Lovecraftian sea creatures and using aqua abilities, and then you have fucking Cyborg hacking mini games, a range of like Buster Cannons and shit. Make him like Gears of
Right.
War style gameplay with Cyborg.
Exactly. Oh, and another note, really big chance missed with the Suicide Squad game. Instead of having King Shark, who doesn't use guns or fucking fly, you could have literally had Killer Frost, and she could have just been using ice powers the whole time.
There you go.
That would have gave you different traversal options, and you would have had a magic user basically.
And if you really wanted gun people, you had 2 gun people. You had like Deadshot. You can even like, I don't know if he's actually part of that Suicide Squad. I'm not sure. You could have Deathstroke and whoever was in the last movie.
He could have just been DLC.
Anybody.
Yeah.
You have a plethora of like gun characters in the fucking DC universe.
Yeah. You know what? They didn't hit me when you said it earlier, but Boomerang using guns. I didn't even think about that.
Yes, you
That's-
have a man named Captain Boomerang using guns.
And it was funny because he was like so unwell implemented. They had to give him like a flash upgrade. They had to give him Speed Force to make him interesting. I was like, bruh, are you serious with this? Come on.
They're trying really hard to make it work, and I'm rooting for them. I hope it does, because God, I don't want Rocksteady to go away.
I doubt they will. They're too good of a studio. Granted, this will probably be their first like real big flop. since probably like the Arkham Knight, which technically wasn't a flop, but definitely had some,
It was
some
just
criticisms.
it was really mixed. It wasn't bad. It was a good game. It's just it was mixed on
Yeah,
like a fan to fan thing.
it's just people know so much about DC. It's like we all knew who Arkham Knight was the moment he stepped in,
Mm-hmm.
and we started seeing how it was, and we were just like, come on, bro, he's Jason Todd. Come
Yeah.
on, don't even give me that. And then all that vendetta about against Batman is just like, come on, man.
Dude, when I heard that they were doing when they got Rocksteady to do Suicide Squad, I was like, if you didn't want them to do another traditional Batman game, why couldn't you have done my boy Terry Justice, give us a Batman Beyond game?
Oh, that would have been ill. I would have legitimately been ill, especially with like all this futuristic stuff right now. Because like, there's been a lot of like cyberpunk style games, so futuristic Batman Beyond would have been the shit.
Yes,
Dude, yo, that's what they should have did next. If that game's not in development, I would be shocked. That would actually make sense.
please.
Man, dang, I can see that too. Especially with how like cyberpunk is, like how great they made that world look, dude.
Yes.
Mm. Yeah, that'd be fire. Anything else to add, bud?
I mean, the best part about Suicide Squad is going to be Kevin Conroy's last role as Batman.
Oh yeah, because he voiced that because he passed away, right?
Yep, he passed away, and that was the last thing he got to voice before he passed away. So, if anything, hopefully his performance is at least he ends on a high note.
I'm sure. That'd probably be the only thing that bring people in.
Yeah, just to hear what his role is in that game, because it is. I don't know if I forgot to mention this, but it is canon to the Arkham games.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they did say that in the beginning.
So,
yeah. How'd you feel about the RPG mechanics for that game?
Boring.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just not enticed to want to do anything.
Yeah, I paused it when I was like on the live stream and I was just looking at it. I was just like 500% damage damage to increase. I was like, what is this number for? Like, I gave it the benefit of the doubt being like, okay, maybe this is just for the demo purposes, just to make overpowered, make it look good, really good, yada yada. But I started looking at it again. I'm just like, what is this? Like, you're getting like Bane, like acid abilities and stuff like that. I'm just like, this is kind of it's all over the place and it just doesn't really work too well. I'm really worried about it. I hope it does better. Definitely not the highlight of that whole
Direct
state of play. Yeah, there was also another wasted slot. I forgot what game it was though. They showed it off. Oh no, they showed off Destiny 2 Lightfall's launch trailer.
Oh, okay.
I get why they put it there. But at the same time, it's like, come on, you could have put another game there. We know Destiny 2's Lightfall's coming.
Yeah,
like, they've been advertising it like nonstop, and that was just a waste of a state of play slot. If it was like a bonus extra towards like the end, cool, or the beginning,
or even the sizzle reel,
right? That would have been cool. But now they wasted an entire trailer spot with that instead of showing us something else.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, Sony, I'm rooting for you here. I'm a hardcore Sony fan, but it's getting real hard to support you guys lately. And it's just like, man,
it's decisions up top. They got to change that hierarchy, man. It's not looking good.
Definitely not. But we're just gonna go ahead and wrap it up there. Thanks for guys for listening. Again, this is my buddy Cruz, my homie. Known him for years. He's a Nintendo expert. You're gonna hear a lot more of him in the future. And let us know what you guys think in the comments down below. What are your thoughts on the games we talked about? And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time.
Peace.